and they give back so many good feelings because it's a communication happening between animals, not really spiders. I rescued so many spiders by now, so I know the spider is like, not when the spider comes in and he wants to die, then he searches for the warmth of my hand, and he actually would love to be on my sweater as well and my hand. So it gets really difficult to get that spider to kind of like the place behind my laptop where the warm air is coming out. They like that. And also flies when they can't fly anymore. Now it's winter time. I had 2 or 3 of them around, and they died after a day or 2. They were dead. I saw them in the kitchen, and then I thought, yeah, let's take them to the laptop so they have a nicer life there. So when you're eating meat and you're blood type O, that means it's like the same when the people that started eating anything on earth, were kind of short of eating fruit and vegetables they just found. They kind of had their cattle, they had animals. Well, cattle started when they were settling down, but they were actually before that hunters and gatherers. So in the summertime they would eat all stuff that was ripe, and then for the winter they had the animals that they would just dry up. In the northern countries you can do that and it doesn't get rotten. Or just hunt them in the warm countries all over the year and eat those animals. You could do that if you were a lot of men. You could have a rhino until it gets so exhausted, then after a day or 2 of a hunt, it would just lay down and you would eat it. Well, then the people settled down and they could have cattle. They started to have, the wolf wanting food. The wolf became a dog, and they had the seeds that they accidentally left somewhere on the floor. They saw that that would sprout again the next year because they settled down, or maybe while they were still traveling as a tribe, they came back to a place they've been before and they saw, well, the seeds, they have actually sprouted. Well, let's stay. If the seeds sprout, we've got food. There were nuts from a tree that people ate instead of bread, and they even had nowadays it's called Eiche, Aiche. So Eiche. That tree has nuts, and I know from a book that the people were eating bread that stems from this nut. So then the people could get much older. The people weren't referring to moon cycles. It was, you've got 13 moon cycles and you've got less months a year. You've just got 12 months. So when you calculate stuff in moon cycles, then you might get like 10 more years out of 10 years, right? Kind of that ratio. But it's that they just lived longer, and also they stayed more alkaline. So what I'm doing right now is I'm in a bathtub and I'm having baking soda in here, and I'm actually trying to get my skin to transfer any kind of sour something out of my body, and by osmosis this is transfer that out of my body. So because the alkaline water will do that, you cannot take salt water. Everyone thinks of a spa as being a bath in salted water, but that's not correct. So also in that book about that salt detox, which is not good, just never ever good for your skin or when you're eating it, there they had old So they were analyzing how long people lived and what they ate. So it was that nut of that tree that actually became a bread. But when the people started eating any sort of corn like bread, as we know it now, they aged earlier and died sooner. And then also when the potato, after Columbus supposedly went to America, they brought the potato to Europe, and then again the people started to live longer, not just 40 years old, but now it's like 60 to 80. That's a good ratio. But of course, we've got so much sugar around here. We die because sugar is the main ager in Asian countries and poor countries where the people don't eat sugars. They don't have these heart condition issues, illnesses. So when you actually live off coffee and Snickers and Mars, as I did, and then you find these books that your mother left behind, you kind of start to eat veggies, nuts, but all the ones that I actually kind of can digest very well, that doesn't clump up my blood. But then I also learned about that there is hybrids out there and lectins. So it might be a scare so that you don't eat anything at all anymore, but it was a good thing to learn about the lectins because I was having the mother's books and I went like, oh yes, sprouting, what a good way to live and have all those minerals. But wait, the young plants are the ones full of lectins. They need to shield themselves so they don't get eaten up by other animals. It's just a shielding for those young plants, and all the sprouts that I had, like 12 different sorts of sprouts, I had to throw away. You know, by throwing away, I mean if it's herbs, I give it out into the nature. If it's pills with toxins in them, then yeah, of course, I need to throw them away into a rubbish bag. And if it's like herbs that someone still could use, or, you know, if it's grains, then it goes to the birds. I try to not, you know, if something would feed the birds or the garden, it goes out there, but otherwise it just goes into the rubbish bin. That's my stomach. I'm hungry. Well, I just had the supplements, even though I haven't eaten, so that's what you hear. So, I learned that the sprouts have a lot of lectins, and the lentils that I eat do too. But if I just look at what people have been doing and what has helped them most, there is a TV presenter, Anastasia. She hasn't had sugars for 12 years, so everything that is included in an apple she would intake, but sugars as a bare substance, no. So she looks very well, and also it says aging mostly comes from eating sugars. So even though the sugar went out and stevia came in and xylitol, I was still having that sweet taste, which is far too sweet, every day. So I actually have thrown away the xylitol and the stevia like yesterday. So I'm not gonna have that sweet, 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 over the top sweet taste anymore. Now I'm gonna buy not dates, because that's another diet I learned about, the glycemic index. But to finish this sugar thing, like having a lot of sugar is not so good when you drink tea. So you put sugar in your tea, so your stomach thinks, oh, there is sweet coming, something to digest, and then what you give him is just a little bit of sugar, no fibers, you know. And that tea So that's not possible to do. You create diabetes when you're tricking your body into thinking now he has to digest something too often, and then it doesn't happen. But the other thing, the sugar, I just said, I've thrown it away. Because, yeah, the glycemic index, that's how much sugar is released into your body of every nutrition you can think of. So, if you have a date, which is something to eat as well, not just something you can do that date, you can have one before 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So, a Swiss medic working with a Swiss football team, he says the two things that those people need to do is to have no sugars at all. That boosts their energy level. And you can also see that from the Mormons. When Mormons jump up onto a cupboard just like that, without really, being stressed out by that, that's because still those Mormons, what they do right is they have a good, what they sow, they eat. And then also that Swiss medic, he also does overstretching though. So it's supposed to be no good to stretch when you're running afterwards, or you want to box because your reflexes aren't that sharp anymore. That one I read on the internet. But then on the other hand, what he does to boost those athletes' outcome is just having them not eat sugars at all. He gives them mannoses and galactoses, as I showed you, because that one transfers into your brain, so you're still capable of thinking. But it doesn't spike the insulin, doesn't make you digest sugars as the normal sugar does. And so he gets out of those athletes more than without that program. So that glycemic index tells you what to eat when. So it's like grapes is a no-no, cherries is a no-no, dates as well. Or if you need just one cherry, one date, before 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah, the other diet I read about is to not eat and then eat again, that intermittent fasting. There is 2 people that do it. There is an old lady in the valley and she does it. She has a 16:8 ratio, so she's really fit. She drinks as well, like drinking water, like 2 liters, she says she does every day. And she has no wrinkles, she's fit in her brain. And then also, when people tell you on YouTube, then you don't really know, is it good to fast, yes or no? But then there is another guy getting old. It's a comedian called Harald Schmidt. So he's been getting fat like 3 years ago when he was on a talk, also on live. He puts up little videos he does every day, just like a stream, very spontaneous. So you saw him being fat. And now, just 3 years later, he's had an interview lately and he's all slim again. And what helped him, he said, was not eating until 12 o'clock and then stopping eating like at 6 o'clock. So he's not eating all morning. So there you see how I do stuff. Then I go, well, but don't studies say that you should eat in the morning? And heart disease, death, a cure when you're not eating in the mornings. Okay, so I will rather get up, eat straight away, and then stop eating at 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. Rather do it like this. Yeah, not eat in the evenings because metabolism also slows down in the evenings. But yeah, if I ever get older and I think I want to enjoy life as I used to, that one that you got used to as a